Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to LCK Spring 2019, and Hanwha Life are indeed one game ahead of SKT in this series, and it was all off the back of this gentleman, but I kind of wish that Key got the MVP, because he was the one that set this guy up for success so many times. The hooks landed, the plays were fantastic, and the Jinx Thresh bottom lane really made sure that SKT had no way back into that game.
Yeah, and SK Telecom coming into game number 2 now, they're going to be on the blue side. Which means they won't have counter picks available to them, and honestly, it was so interesting that Hanwha, their ban phase in the first round of the bans was so peculiar.
Yeah, and then got them into a winning scenario.
Yeah, it was very bizarre all around. But SK Telecom's draft, the team composition on paper can work. They didn't pilot it correctly.
Yeah.
And so, coming into game number 2 here, probably should maybe stray away from something like that, as their gameplay really did look off everywhere except for FLICKR.
I think so too, and I think that, you know, the mid lane wasn't... Okay, so, yes, FLICKR looked fine, but looking fine I don't think is the main thing here, right? I mean, the Akali did not have the priority in the early game, and it meant that there was 3 losing lanes and a Lee Sin versus Olaf. And Olaf was just able to run the jungle throughout the entire time. And SKT were relying on finding a way back into the game rather than setting themselves up with a position to win from the get-go. And this might actually help them, as Olaf is going to be the first ban here, and Hanwha Life are going to start with the Kalista ban first up. And it looks like they can go back to their LeBlanc Jace after that if they would like to. But Olaf being banned first from SKT is a much better sign here for game 2.
Clid looking a little bit distressed here on the camera.
Yeah. Get those eyes sorted out. I think he's going to be okay.
It's going to be all right.
Having a look to see what they should be banning out next. 2 seconds to go, and Thresh is going to be aimed at Key, and I like this. You know, if a team beats you with a couple of picks that you didn't like very much, just ban them. Game number 2.
You like that?
Yeah, I like it.
All right.
I think it's good.
Well, Jace is still available and on the table. So will Hanwha just ban him away here, and then...
Oh, they ban LeBlanc Jace every day of the week. No, they don't. They ban Lysandra. Okay, I'll take it all back.
Maybe willing to give LeBlanc away here, or try to get it for themselves.
And maybe Lava just feeling confident about picking the Zoe into the LeBlanc matchup, because the Zoe did look good as the game went on in game number 1. Flexing on FLICKR, it certainly feels like something you'd need a lot of confidence in order to do, though, as Yorick is going to be the next ban here for SKT, not allowing Hanwha to grab that in the first round, and then banning away the counter picks. I like that one as well.
And I particularly like this, given that on the red side, you can guarantee that you can get Yorick whilst removing the very few counter picks that do exist for him. So making sure to ban that away, I do think is quite a good idea, as Hanwha finally does ban away the Jace. This does mean that LeBlanc, Ezreal, Lucian, and friends are all on the table and available.
Braum is still up, though. Braum has been certainly a clinch pit for a lot of teams. It did lose earlier on, as the flexible Ryze is being considered. Not looking towards the LeBlanc, not wanting to have the issue of showing one of your lanes guaranteed very early on in the draft, and I don't mind that from SKT, but Hanwha can go towards it if they would like to. Unless they'd like to just lock in a bottom lane here, they certainly can do that as well. But Vladimir, he's available, picked into the Ryze is scary, but they will have the first look at where the Ryze is going, most likely after the blue side completes its draft. So I don't mind this. If Vladimir can get away from the early game against the Ryze, you can still be a Vladimir in the late game.
The other thing is that maybe there's even potential to throw Vladimir down into bottom lane.
Hey, that's true.
This is very bizarre by Hanwha Life here. They pick up Vladimir and LeBlanc, and when you're this up front with extreme magic damage aggression that is now on their team composition, it just feels so easy for SK Telecom to be like, okay, well, we're going to recalibrate our initial draft plans and now just answer everything that you want to do because you showed your hand face up that early.
Yep.
Probably not going to be the case, though.
It's also just, it's really dangerous to do on the red side as well, because you give away all of that power, because they've given away both of their solo lanes, potentially, unless Sangyoon's going to be moving the Vladimir towards the bottom lane. Galio going to be picked up here. FLICKR could be playing it, of course, but it's likely going into the hands of Mata to create that bottom lane. Hanwha Life now, what do they show us? Do they lock in a jungler here? Try and help bonO out, give him some priority.
All right, well, we'll have to see what way they're going with this. Maybe they're going to keep everything a little... Yeah, that would have been very interesting, but instead it does look like it will be the Rek'Sai.
All right, she's going to help try and shore up the early game. I don't mind this from Hanwha Life. bonO does play aggressively very, very well, and that's exactly where Rek'Sai is good. And then you allow Vladimir to take over in the late game, where Rek'Sai becomes basically useless. So I don't mind it. Don't mind it at all.
So right now, Hanwha Life maybe just tries to pinch the support champion pool rather than the AD carry.
So we're going to be banned. Just take that option away from FLICKR.
But FLICKR could just be on the Galio.
He could.
In mid lane. That is something that we have seen lately. We have seen some teams try to utilize Galio from the middle lane. And obviously SK Telecom are one of the historic teams that loved using the mid lane Galio for FLICKR.
SKT just wondering where they want to pinch right now, because the Shen is going to be banned, just to deny that Vladimir Shen lane that's so incredibly popular here in Korea. Would mean that level 6 can be a huge power spike for Hanwha Life, especially when you can just deliver the Shen on so many different avenues. Hanwha Life, do they stick to the mid lane when it comes to these bans, or do they switch it up a little bit? And they do. They're going to deny Teddy his Ezreal. Not going to be able to scale up on that one. Double tiers still available.
So now if you're SK Telecom, Lucian is obviously still on the table, but do you ban it, thinking that maybe Hanwha Life want to be the ones to pick it up, although you do have the Ryze and the Galio, which are very proficient.
All right, Bard,
at
going
close
to be banned
quarter
against
combat.
Key. Having an idea that maybe Key wanted to go back towards his favorite champion. Has played it already here in the LCK. It's been pretty effective. Did do a lot of wasting time with the magical journeys, but I'm actually glad that it's banned. It means that my co-caster isn't going to be looking behind me so often.
Yep.
As he likes to try and identify whether or not the bards are smart casting their magical journeys. Braum going to be locked in here. From Hanwha Life.
No, I'm sad about that. You just brought that up again.
Yeah, no.
Braum locked in here so that if SK Telecom wanted to try to go Lucian Braum, they cannot do that any longer. SK Telecom, they're hovering Varus.
That'd be an odd one.
Instead, actually, Thomas now.
And this will mean that FLICKR is going to be playing the Galio. Okay, so SKT showing their hand finally. This was going to be where they'd have to do it, unless they were going to continue flexing between mid and top. If they had locked in something like an Aurelia, that certainly could have been the case. As now, we're trying to work out what Teddy actually wants to play here. Could just take the Tristana or the Ashe, something like that, a little bit more safe towards the bottom side. And Ashe is being looked at right now, 4 seconds to go. Hawkshot going to be very valuable, trying to work out where bonO is going to be finding his prey next. That is going to be their option, a lot more utility here on SKT's side and a lot more lane priority in the early stages of this game. Galio may not necessarily have it, but you do still have decent wave clear. And Ashe Tahm Kench is going to be much more capable of controlling a wave. Sangyoon thinking about the Kai'Sa. 4 seconds to go, and they are going to lock it in. This is looking pretty dangerous. See whether Sangyoon is going to buy into the fleet footwork Kai'Sa with the Stormrazor Rush, trying to get all of those evolutions very early on, or whether it's going to be once again press the attack Kai'Sa without any activation of the passive ability of the Stormrazor that I don't like very much. I like items to be utilized for what they're supposed to do.
In the Ashe Tahm Kench, it is definitely a very powerful bottom lane, and obviously with the Galio and the Lee Sin, there's a lot of different avenues for SK Telecom to go here in this game, and if you're Hanwha Life, you do have an extremely explosive 1, 2, 3 item spike on some of the champions, and obviously the Vladimir late game scaling is always something that people have to respect.
Oh yeah, and I think it's our key matchup that's going to be once again the key. Vladimir versus Ryze certainly feels Ryze favored. It's one of the only matchups that Vladimir really does get punished in, and Khan will have that counterpick opportunity, but Thal was able to work his way around. A similar matchup in the last game. We'll see what can happen here. As we check out the rosters, Ryze, Lee Sin, Galio, Ashe, and Tahm Kench will be your SKT squad. And it is FLICKR's Galio once again, where he gets to take care of the rest of his team just by dropping in to say hi whenever anyone gets into trouble.
On the flip side, for Hanwha Life, you have the Vladimir coupled with the Rek'Sai, the LeBlanc, the Kaisa, and the Braum. And so this is a very different kind of team composition from game number 1. They are looking to explode around the 1 item mark, but they definitely have late game scaling inside of their comp yet again.
Well, see whether they can actually get to it here as SKT looking to fight back here in game number 2. All right. Hanwha looking to get the 2-0. Lava has gone for the Klepto. This is something that Pawn really likes to do, as Lava already cashing in. Look at that, extra ward. Perfect, beautiful. Calculated.
Calculated indeed. As we take a look at the Kleptomancy on LeBlanc, I do think that that is a fantastic choice against the melee champion Galio here.
I had Papa just messaged me, by the way, guys, and he just wants me to let everyone know that Stormrazor energized effect itself does proc itself, so you don't necessarily need to have any outside effects. However, it does buff up any energized effects that you have on top of it. So, still, the fleet footwork is going to be taken here from Sangyoon, and I like it. Even if you do still get value out of the Stormrazor, regardless.
Well, we'll see what ends up transpiring here as Clid is going to start on top of a ward here inside of his red.
Yep, red also going to be started, so mirrored starts here for both of our junglers, but a little bit more help being given to bonO. Lava and FLICKR, this is going to be Lava's key pick. He is so good. On the LeBlanc, see whether he can once again have a good performance.
FLICKR actually forced to have to give up that CS, didn't want to walk into more Kleptos and auto attack damage. He's already suffering a little bit here.
Yeah, it's just a lose-lose situation, really, isn't it?
Yep. Also interesting to note, he has the Dark Seal refillable, so no corrupting potion, as Lava making a bit of some blunders here. Yeah, this is definitely the opposite of what is good.
Sometimes some sad things can happen when it comes to
and Clid ends up getting spotted out as well.
Oh, bonO going to prey seek him, letting him know that he knows what's going on. That was really, really nice spawn.
Yeah.
Twitch there from FLICKR to get the Colossal Smash on top of Lava as well. That's going to get him the health advantage, but he misses out on that minion. As it dies to the turret, both these mid laners just trying to get the shove in their favor. But Klepto's working out here for Lava so far, and it means that because he's taken that particular keystone, he's just going to want to farm things up, not exactly going to be hyper-aggressive trying to get electrocute procs or anything like that here in the mid lane.
bonO actually ends up taking the entire Raptor camp. FLICKR whiffs on the Justice Punch right there. Lava was finally able to get some value out of the Kleptomancy, picks up a gold satchel. Mata coming in here, checking on the Krug camp.
Yeah, Clid's actually going to find a Krug camp here as well, but it looks like it is going to be some successful counter jungling here from bonO. Did manage to get the big Krug before he heads back towards his blue side jungle. We'll be able to eat all of these camps as well. So Rek'Sai very happy when she can just get her power farm on. We'll be able to continue doing so. Thal's looking pretty comfortable up here towards the top side. We mentioned the fact that Ryze versus Vladimir, difficult for Vladimir. But as this game goes on, he will still be Vladimir. Oh, didn't use the Crimson Rush. That feels bad.
Does feel bad indeed, as Hanwha Life probably not feeling as good as they were in game number 1 here. Everything definitely a lot more even, especially in the jungle department. Oh,
really nice tongue lash there as well, as Teddy's getting the frost shots across. A lot of damage now onto the Hanwha bottom side as SKT just bully themselves back, complete control of this lane. Hanwha will make their way back in though, they're going to be okay. I just feel like Ashe Tahm Kench has been such a good lane for so long, and a lot of people have been, you know, somewhat sleeping on just how strong it is. Hasn't been Hanwha though, they know exactly what this lane is capable of. It was them and Gen G that were really absolute lovers of this particular duo bottom side.
Mid lane doesn't look like Lava is getting the most value out of his Kleptomancy. He does have a Mana Potion. But I am curious, I guess, how much more is he getting out of some of these things? FLICKR still no Darksteel. He actually just selected for the Sapphire Crystal.
Yeah, just goes back. He's feeling pretty comfortable at the moment. Looks like he's building towards the Lost Chapter. First up here is that's demolished. Corruption is able to pick up there. Very, very close to getting the first plate here on the bottom side. Also, Smash goes down. FLICKR just tanking some autos as the Klepto's working, and bonO's going to look to find his way back in. Taunt goes out, but Hanwha playing very respectfully, understanding that Clid could be there, and he was.
Oh, even more value going on there. But the gold score at the top, despite the Kleptomancy. Oh, we're finally getting a quick peek at it. FLICKR ahead, despite being behind in CS. Only ahead by about 70 though, so definitely not the most successful Kleptomancy here.
Not so much. Lava wanting to use his range advantage there as well, but unfortunately it's a Galio, so he feels like he's a range champion instead of the melee champion that it says on the box. Still, copping autos left and right here from Lava. And he's got a sack of gold, so there we go, there's the value. Clid comes back to the mid lane trying to get FLICKR a decent back timing. Lava comes down, FLICKR doesn't get the twitch on the taunt, and that means that a couple of procs of those Kleptomancy stacks going to come in, and Lava going to clear out this minion wave as well. So just trying to get back to base comfortably are the mid laners. bonO heads back up towards the top side, and he's going to go over a ward as well. It's creative gank placement, but Khan knows exactly what's going on. Rayseeker comes in, isn't going to get hit by the turret, so he's going to be okay as Thal comes on up as well. Unsuccessful gank.
Does end up finding out about the control ward though in that river brush. And so right now, SK Telecom probably feeling very good. So he's going to start his red buff right now. bonO does have the rubber banded Krug camp at the top. Is Teddy freezing down here in bottom, not having to relive the Vayne Jinx memories from the previous game.
Yeah, probably feeling much more comfortable this time around. He's gone back, got himself the Vamp Scepter. That's another taunt landing, but Lava's able to get back to his distortion. He's A-okay. Looking forward to seeing what this LeBlanc can actually get done around this mid-game, because she is part of the bridge. She is part of the answer here for Hanwha to try and get the Vladimir and the Kai'Sa towards these late-game fights where they can really shine. Well, Lava and bonO, a lot of the onus is on them to help Hanwha through this.
And so far in this game, it looks like everyone is probably just going to be content on allowing this to get to the team fighting stage without any sparks really flying, although SK Telecom certainly going to be able to at least get a plate down here in bottom lane.
Yep, we'll be able to get it right here. Teddy picks himself up an extra 80 gold alongside Mata. Might be able to get to another one here as well, as these three caster minions going to go down eventually. So Hanwha to at least save that second one. Lava is just toying with FLICKR at the moment, being very frustrating. And honestly, lanes where you're up against someone with Kleptomancy, sometimes you can get that rush of blood to the head, you know? It's like, oh, they've taken a keystone that doesn't do anything as far as the power, and then you just make weird choices, and it doesn't quite work out. Of course, FLICKR are a better player than that, but we can all relate to going up against some of these Klepto players. So far, Lava is behind by about 12 CS. So we'll see where the Klepto's actually kept him in it. Or not. FLICKR, of course, known for his CSD throughout his entire career. It's Khan just pushing wave after wave into Thal, and Thal's probably pretty comfortable with it. As he is, of course, going to be behind, but you're not going to dive at Vladimir. So he's pretty comfortable now that he's underneath that turret.
He is down almost about 20 CS. He does have a little bit of a minion wave in front of his turret. Plate, though, going over to Khan.
Yeah. And in games that SKT win, it's often Khan picking up plates.
Yeah.
By himself as well. And Clid making his way up to try and help out. So this is a great sign for SKT fans. SKT do move themselves to a slight gold advantage at this stage. Key comes in, lands the Winter's Bite. Q's going to come in response from Clid as well.
And Ashe and Thomas Kench were right there in the event that anything would have broken out.
That was a Justice headbutt there from FLICKR. Sangyoon's going to get a few autos.
Taking a little bit of damage. He's also down a level, as he has been zoned out of quite a bit of CS. You can see that Kai'Sa's about level 6.7, maybe 6.8, and Teddy is already in level 7, so...
This has a lot to do with Key having to move himself around the map to try and save people, but he might actually just be taken down here. The exhausts are going to be traded, but that is a very dead Braum. Oh, gets the flash. Stand behind me's there, but Justice punches exactly that. Hanwha are looking for this one, though, as Teddy comes out. Lava dashes on over. Hanwha can't find their way in, and SKT, a beautiful first blood.
Yeah, and they get a lot out of this as well. They get the teleport out of Thal. They get the flash out of bonO. They pick up some of the spells onto Key as well, and they pull Sangyoon all the way over. And so this game is not looking anything like game number 1 as SK Telecom. They're off to a fantastic lead. They are trading the Mountain Drake for the Rift Herald, but with 3.5 minutes remaining on all of the plates, this is definitely something that SK Telecom can feel comfortable doing, as they can really try to accelerate that rise for the Galio.
And they're also happy to do this because we know the Mountain Drake ain't a great Drake if you're behind. So you may as well pick up HLE, open up this map even more, and make sure that Hanwha don't have any time where they're up close and personal with these turrets. Clid's going to throw it immediately towards the top side, and this is part of the SKT win condition. I absolutely love this from the squad, keeping their heads in the game.
Oh, they're bringing FLICKR over as well. I think that they want to maybe try to even kill Thal, but Lava making his way up here into top lane.
Yep, Lava's going to get there. Winds of War are going to come down, and Thal takes way too much damage. Preyseeker not going to find the gargoyle, is now Khan relatively low on mana. Q's going to land, but he does have the Sangyoon pull, so of course no danger of dying just yet. Tower survives with a couple of plates still intact. Hanwha only 1,000 gold behind, but this was a great first blood to come in from SKT to get them on the right foot already.
We take a look at how everything here transpired. It was just very simple Abyssal Voyage, Key not realizing that Galio was going to clap him, regardless of whatever he would try, and Mata making sure that Teddy got to safety, as Lava and Thal were not able to do anything inside of that fight. Now, Thal is locked up here in the top lane as Call. You like that?
Carl? Yeah.
You like that, Call?
Good old Carl.
You know that means knife in Korean?
Is it?
Cal, yeah.
I didn't know that. Emo plate goes down as Thal's tanking out the minions, just gets kicked in the head. Doesn't even have time to queue. Good knock up there from bonO, but he's outside of the turret range, and that is 2 free kills for SKT. A misplay on Hanwha's side. Good flash from Sangyoon, bottom side of the map, but that's not what you want to be doing. Defensive flashes here to try and keep your turret alive. This is SKT starting to flex on Hanwha.
Yeah, and SK Telecom, they're going to be at a 3,000 gold lead here soon. Khan going to pick up the very last plate and also get himself, I believe, the first... Yeah, he's definitely going to get the first blood turret here. Thal does not have teleport available. Plates are still going down in bottom lane, and I like what he's doing. He's letting the turret finish off almost all of the minions. Just one remains.
Yep, they're going to be taking down all these creeps just before he heads back and buys a whole bunch of items. Archangel's already completed. And let's have a look at this one once again. It was a bit of a cavalcade of errors. The Hemo Plague does come down. Khan does flash, but
the really surprising
flash
thing is,
kick and he's dead.
Yeah, Khan ended up flashing, but he definitely didn't need to. Obviously, that was a really good kick.
LeBlanc video.
Still making sure that he's okay. But, Lava here in the mid lane. Just trying to hang on to his turret. He's lost a couple of plates here as well. Mimic Distortion just to close distance here as Lava's just trying to make some money off Faker. Gets over once again. This is actually pretty cute. Gets back, doesn't land the next chain.
Manages to repel the Galio for now.
That was really nicely done from Lava, actually. The bait and switch over and over again.
4K gold deficit here almost, though, at 14 minutes. So even though you have the Mountain Drake, you're not going to be in the driver's seat anytime soon to make use of it. And with the Cloud Drake coming up next, it's not one that Hanwha Life feels good about.
Yeah, Key going to get tagged by that Q. That stops a couple of backs here as well. So tempo, slight advantage here for SKT, denying that refresh of all of the vision from Hanwha. Stormrazor is done now for Sangyoon. Does have himself that pickaxe as well. So a couple of evolutions are well and truly on the way for the Kai'Sa. I believe the Supercharger still needs some Berserker's Greaves and maybe a dagger or two, but otherwise he's very, very close to being online. But is it actually in time, is the question. He's reached parity as far as farm is concerned, but global gold is certainly in favor of SKT after all of the plates and everything else that went down in the early game.
And I mean, we just saw those plates, SK Telecom, they ended up getting 9, so I'm not quite impressed. As Hanwha Life did manage to get 10.
Yeah, it's not the 15 that they managed to get against BBQ.
Definitely not. You know, so they should probably try a little bit harder.
Yeah, well, Clid's going to try a little bit harder here as well. That's going to be the taunt, but it's only on to bonO. Key comes in, tries to sack himself for the good of his team, but he's not even going to get taken down. Thal fighting against Khan on the top side of the map. It's understandable here that Khan's having a great time, but Hanwha have repelled the aggression from SKT for now. Despite lands onto a minion, Key trying to get himself into position. Because that's the empowered Q, but look at how much damage Sangyoon's taking. The Devour comes forward as Mata was tanking up that turret. Clid tried to land the Q, didn't. Now Thal is just getting abused.
Almost like it's different teams.
Yeah.
Than game number 1. The roles are reversed here.
It's a complete switcheroo, as that ward there is going to give a lot of value over to Hanwha, but they're not actually going for it. Yep. Kick back there from Clid. He gets the safeguard. He's going to be absolutely fine. And we go back towards the top side as Thal is getting completely obliterated.
Yeah, he's getting completely annihilated up here in the top lane. About 50% HP on the top tier 2 turret. This is one of the worst feelings in the world if you are the Vladimir.
And also, I mean, the Raptor camp is getting taken on respawn from the Ryze as well. This is why we say the Ryze is the blocker pick to the Vladimir. If you want to pick the Vlad, ban the Ryze. Or at least have some sort of way of flexing the Vlad out of the Ryze lane. Hanwha had made no attempt to do that at all. It was just Thal saying, give me the Vlad, I'll do it. And
the other interesting thing is that they chose 2 champions that are not that great into the Ryze. You had the LeBlanc and you had the Vladimir, which is just very bizarre. And so here in game number 2, we're sort of seeing what Hanwha Life do, what SK Telecom did in game 1.
Yeah. The question is, do Hanwha Life have more late game insurance than SKT? And my, I guess, original thought is yes. I mean, Vladimir and Kai'Sa are pretty good when it comes to late game carries, and SKT's composition was more about having control and finesse in team fights where you can get on top of a Jinx that was way too safe.
Yeah.
So it doesn't quite feel like that sort of situation here, where it feels like Hanwha trumped SKT in game number 1. However, with Khan being so incredibly big, SKT can just run Hanwha around the map and create gigantic leads for themselves. As Faker's looking for lava, not going to be able to find him just yet. It's not over, but it just feels really, really hard for Hanwha to win. We know that SKT are just so good at closing out these sorts of games from slight leads in the early game.
Yeah. And it's about a 4.5k gold lead here in SK Telecom's favor. Mountain Drake coming up in 3.5 minutes. And they should be relatively content with just farming up passively until that dragon comes up, in which case they should definitely be able to look to capitalize on it.
Yep, 3 minutes. Don't worry just yet, as Tremor Sense is going to spot out Khan. He's going to stand on this control ward. See, the Tremor Sense is still working out. There's a Brambleback. Does come up, it's going to be traded across the map here though. Lava's holding on to mid lane. Dives on top of Teddy, lands himself the chain as Mata, I don't think had the Devour. Did find it eventually. Lava's going to use basically his whole health bar just to harass Teddy a little.
Clid was just waiting on the horizon for something to potentially do, but not going to find it. As now 2.5 minutes until the Mountain Drake comes up. Nothing really too exciting happening, and so Hanwha Life, they can at least take solace in knowing that they're gonna at least get one team fight to try to turn this game around.
It's just, when is that team fight going to happen? That's the question that I have. I guess Mountain Drake could be the opportunity, unless SKT are just going to shut them out with the extra vision that they will have. Faker steals away the majority of the popcorn chickens, and bonO's going to feel really upset about it.
The really scary thing, too, is that if that Mountain Drake does go in favor of Hanwha Life and they end up not only winning the fight, but also the dragon, they can easily convert into a Baron with even just 2 members remaining.
Yeah.
Because double Mountain Drake. So this is a very high pressure moment inside of the game where if Hanwha Life can try to get some sort of a flank on the Vladimir and easy access to Teddy,
wow,
they might be able to get something done and achieved, but Teddy's not the only threat. The Ryze is massive.
Well, FLICKR going for a very deep teleport here as Khan's just looking to keep them busy. Arrow's going to go wide, but it's a good flash to get out of the way. 4-man taunt here from FLICKR on the Galio. We know how well he can team fight as the LeBlanc is already dead. It's Clid that just gets rid of her. Defensive hero's entrance is now. The Sangyoon pulls in the backline, but the exhaust is fantastic, and the Vladimir does nothing. Double kill going over to the Ryze, and SKT continue to have control in this game.
And it looks like they are keen on trying to push mid tier 2 turret and then maybe falling back after an inhibitor turret push into consuming the dragon, but I mean this game is all but over, Atlas. It is
it's
over
20
a
minutes
6,000 gold lead here at 20. It's about to go up a little bit more. 7,000 now. Inhibitor turret going to fall, and it wouldn't just be surprised to see SK Telecom fall back.
Nope, they are going to fall back, so it looks like they can go for a reset if they want, and then try and go for some sort of Baron play. But SKT at the moment, it is getting to the point where smacking them with your wallet is the thing that you can do. 7,000 gold. Now the lead, couple of items. They're just in a great position in this game with the composition that they have. And look at how many tools Hanwha used. That meant that they weren't available. Glacial Fissure would have been pretty good in this next fight that was upcoming. Unbreakable as well would have been a pretty good one.
Would have been all right, as Kaisa forced the flash away right there, but FLICKR just doing so much work inside of this fight, and even though Vladimir was able to get here, it was just a little too late.
Yeah, and Clid, the Hemo Plague damage, not enough because the Vow came in right after it went down. None of that amplification working out. So Thal is not at the scary Vladimir territory. In fact, he's the opposite of the scary Vladimir. Haven't seen too many of these so far in the LCK. It's felt like Vladimir has just basically won every game. Because the arrow is going to land onto the Kaisa. That's just message sent that he's saying, all right, I hit it. Now I'm going to go. QSS should be done now. If you would like to finish it off, no, just grabs a couple of control wards. Moves his way back out here. Don't know whether QSS is actually going to be the option for Teddy. Probably doesn't need it, given the fact that Martyr exists.
Well, Infernal Dragon coming up in 4.5 minutes. Probably doesn't even need to get to that point, as SK Telecom should be able to end the game off of just one Baron push. They are just so far ahead right now. Lava trying to come in, maybe get some Klepto procs additionally, but it's not a very good feeling.
No.
Right now for Hanwha Life.
Thal's also only sitting on about 30% CDR at the moment as well, assuming he's gone to the right. Rune set up because he's rushed towards Rabadon's Death Cap before the Fiendish Codex comes in. Very, very strange. I mean, this was the build popularized by Noggery to make sure that you can get to that 45 CDR as quickly as you can. Not going to be taken here from Thal. Well, felt like he had too much pressure on him.
And the Death Cap just doesn't really do anything. Look at the amount of magic resist that is on the side of SK Telecom, and I'm not entirely sure of all of their runes, but I'm curious as well if maybe there's some nullifying, what is it called?
Yeah, the nullifying orb thing. Yeah.
The thingy-majig?
The thingy-majig that gives you the slight extra.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
But this is a nightmare situation for Vladimir and LeBlanc.
Yeah, but it feels pretty good for SKT, as now FLICKR wants to find that taunt, gets it onto bonO. That's an easy one. After Key goes down as an afterthought. Arrow lands beautifully as Teddy gets the flash, but doesn't actually get the next auto. Onto bonO. Thal dives into the backline. The Sangyoon pull's good. Hemoplate gives him some health back, and then he's dead. The Vandal Vladimir sinks into the ground and gives away the Baron to SKT.
That was one of the worst feelings, I think, that I've ever witnessed for a Vladimir. As Lava tries to come in here, do some damage, but...
Oh my goodness. Ashe actually got the Baron, so that is huge. That would have been so close from Lava.
Been a really feels bad man.
Or feels good man.
Or feels good man. It depends on how you look at it, you know? Depends how you look at it. But
one man's feels bad man is another man's feels good.
Is that so?
That's what you have to remember.
Okay.
That's some good chat wisdom for you right there. As we check out this one once again. SKT just feels like they have all the control in these fights. Teddy, no one really closing the distance on him. This is really, really sad. As bonO survives with about 1 health. Calculation just a little bit off there from Teddy. But Thal's not the kind of Vladimir that we're used to seeing here in the LCK, and we're going to witness it one more time as another fight is broken out. FLICKR makes his way forward. Teddy takes down bonO very easily. Thal, he's gone completely nuts in the back line. And that is going to be the triple kill for the Ashe, and SKT should win the game.
Yeah. All right. I mean, it's looking pretty close right now, Atlas. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, I know.
12-0. Yeah.
5-0 in turrets. Over 10,000 gold lead.
Almost a perfect game.
Yeah,
that one Mountain Drake. That pesky Mountain Drake.
Sadly.
Getting away from them.
Arrow. Narrowly avoided by Lava by staying still.
I actually think that they could have potentially ended the game for how far ahead they are.
Yeah.
But instead, choosing to be Captain Careful, they back up. They can definitely end it with one more Doom push. Would be very surprised to see them wait for an Infernal Dragon.
This makes game number 3 so exciting, though, because Khan versus Thal has been one-sided both times in favor of either player. And yes, the Aurelia made some mistakes, and that's what threw the lane back in favor of Thal, but this time it was Khan just playing way, way better. This team fight was, yes, one of my favorite things to say, which is smacking them with their wallets, and that's exactly what SKT were doing. They have way more money, as we caught a glimpse of it just there, but we decided we had to turn it off. Yep. Because it was too disgusting.
Yeah, that was not rated.
Yeah.
That was some
terms of service were really getting violated there. Much like Hanwha are in this particular game. Because SKT are just way too far ahead. And how do you get back in? I just don't know how you're supposed to... There's no way of recovering this unless the game goes into some sort of an agreement where SKT say, all right, for the next 20 minutes, we're not going to touch you. It's totally fine.
Well, I mean, if any one of the SK Telecom players happen to slip into a coma,
it'll probably be paused.
Would it?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what's in the rule book for surprise coma. As I think that it's in the SKT rulebook because I guess that's their coach. But,
yep.
Surprise coma is not necessarily one that means that someone's just going to be asleep on the desk.
Well, then I guess I don't know what else.
Yeah, I know. I don't know either.
I don't think there's anything else that you can actually really do then.
That was the comeback mechanic. Yeah, hopefully they get into a.
I can't even say like maybe a mouse has an error. That'd be a pause too.
That would be a pause.
What if all 5 SK Telecom players' PCs and their microphones stop working so the ref can't be alerted? And then they look back to motion the ref?
Well, it better happen right now because the Nexus is dying and SKT are about to win game number 2. They just pile drive Hanwha Life at the very end here. It's all too easy. They hop into the Realm Warp. What the heck was that? They bring the minions so they don't even get killed by the Nexus laser. The Fountain laser, sorry. SKT do fight back in game number 2. Some style points for the ending there. But honestly, I want to see an even game between these two. It was stomp after stomp. Game number 3 better be close.
I think game number 3 is going to be a fiesta.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Because
I think
game 1 was very one-sided.
Yeah, true.
Game 2 was very one-sided. So when you put 2 one-sided things together,
you get a 2-sided thing. Don't you?
Yeah.
All right, and that's a fiesta, and a fiesta, the definition of fiesta is 2-sided League of Legends.
We're going to have 10 kills in the first 8 minutes.
I actually find it really interesting because
no, you know
I feel like the definition of fiesta has evolved a little bit too far over the more recent metas because since Tracker's Knife went, since there hasn't been as much vision in the game, you just have to play a little bit of Fiesta League of Legends in order to make any sort of proactive moves and take advantage of early game compositions, things like that. So when we talk about Fiesta, that's actually what we want half the time because you need to be making these proactive choices. SKT did it in game number 2, and Hanwha had absolutely no option in order to get back in.
There was really almost nothing that they could do. And I mean, we look at the draft, we understand what they're trying to do with the Vladimir and the LeBlanc. They also have the Kai'Sa scaling. The problem is that 3 of their primary champions deal so much magic damage. It's so easy to itemize against them.
And also,
it works against their mid-game explosiveness, even though that's where they're trying to go off.
And they've got a couple of Banshee Veils, I believe, on the Galio and the Ryze, and that just has so much value against this Hanwha composition anyway. I mean, Rek'Sai then can't just go for the burrow, and these Void Seekers aren't going to arm, things like that. So a lot of that catch potential just not going to be there. And this is honestly just a mirrored situation of what we saw in the damage graphs from game number 1. It's just you've got different names above the players.
And one of the things I want to point out, though, that leaves me a little bit unimpressed with this game is that one Mountain Drake that got away.
One away from a perfect game, guys.
So
but we did get a perfect Realm Warp, bringing all of those minions and the players into the enemy fountain.
Everyone got to go
that
into
was cool. Yeah, exactly.
The other fountain.
It was like some Oprah-style stuff. Everyone managed to make it into the fountain. And it also means that we managed to get ourselves a game number 3, Hanwha versus SKT. Will it be SKT that used the momentum to move into game number 3, or will it be Blue Side once again being victorious? Find out after the break.